will we look at our aged selves in the mirror and account for allowing the enemy already found within our gates? The second concern we bring you in this presentation is on the potential of curricular mapping here in TISD. After hearing the presentation last night, I had angst that this program has the ultimate designs to eventually replace our local teachers with the TEA. As I visited with our 6th graders teachers tonight at NIS, my concerns have escalated not only on behalf of my children, but also on behalf of our very skilled teachers. We have only one suggestion to make to the board based on the status of curricular mapping. Never mind that you authorized the purchase of the software last year. Let it go. Find within your authority the means to prevent this program from going forward, which eventually has the potential to take our teachers right out of the picture of education completely. Number 3, our final concern we bring to your attention is the continuous wave of government intrusion into our children's education. George Washington also said, "Be courteous to all, but intimate with few, and let those few be well tried before you give them your confidence." Our 4 children were at home with me last Tuesday, September 8th, and together we watched the President's speech live. Our decision was not a protest to our schools or district. We made this decision because as parents, our role's influence is the first and foremost, most necessary and advantageous component to the degree of educational success that they will each achieve. Kenny and I are ultimately responsible for what is taught. We regret that President Obama and the Board of Education put Tomball ISD in the middle of this highly controversial topic. Given the change in plans announced this week to now proceed with showing the speech district-wide, we take great umbrage with this decision and will be protesting TISD by keeping our children home the entire day that speech is scheduled for their individual campuses. We will not submit them to the growing anthem of conjured up and alleged racism that is a reality. We do want to share with you some of the feedback from them from last Tuesday. Number 1, the question was posed by us to them, what did you think of President Obama's speech? And the response was, I think he didn't support us enough. He said, it's not going to happen for you to be a rap star, a basketball star. He said, forget about it. It's just not going to happen. He didn't tell us to reach for the stars. Number 2, when I posed the question as to why the president did not focus on drugs and alcohol as huge problems for students, my oldest, who's a freshman this year, responded with, duh, Mom, he smokes. He can't tell kids not to do something like that if he smokes. How would that be a good example? Out of the mouth of babes is what went through our minds as they profoundly spoke sound truth. Thomas Paine said, a nation under a well-regulated government should permit none to be uninstructed. It is monarchical and aristocratical government that only requires ignorance for its support. The sequence of events surrounding this speech continue to be curious at the very least. From the best that I can tell, the first hints of the speech surfaced on the wire on 8/21 with a formal announcement from Arnie Duncan of the DOE on 8/26 to school districts. The news story broke officially on 9/1, and the Department of Education website went through several tweaks. And finally, after considerable static and a demand from one of our elected officials, the DOE announced on 9/4 that the text would be available to the public on Labor Day to review, the day before the speech. Also on 9/4, the Department of Education announced key details on a $4.35 million competition called Race to the Top. After the speech made on 9/8, a campaign sponsored by Viacom and the Gates Foundation launched called Get Schooled, and it's linked to Nickelodeon. Announced on September 10th for tonight is a listening and learning tour with Arnie Duncan. It's an hour-long interactive town hall with parents across the nation. In our opinion, this approach to the speech and subsequent actions has created a contentious environment in our nation's schoolyard, and certainly right here at home. Instead of starting off the school year with our best foot forward together, we have all been pitted one against another, with our public school employees put in the middle by the President's office and the Board of Education. To add a destructive page to this story, as Senior Advisor David Axelrod called the collective opposition stupid on Meet the Press 2 Sundays ago, a thought went through my head. Quite frankly, the fact that parents are not seen as seen as a necessary obstacle in public education, I can only reply anytime someone says, "Why would you not want your child to listen to the President of the United States?" With this reply, why would I let anyone I don't trust or who does not respect me as the parent near my children? Interestingly, Mr. Axelrod's timing could not have been worse, as I found myself talking to my children that very weekend about racism. You see, there is a very real trend that is attempting to communicate the definition of modern-day racism to currently include any disagreement with the administration's policies. The word stupid is more appropriately applied to this false trend to redefine a heinous mentality of racism. In regards to the Board of Education's suggested menu of activities, it is offensive to observe a lack of confidence in our dedicated staff in our schools, as is shown in these provided lesson plans. If public education is an entity that should not be political, these lesson plans read quite the opposite. There is nothing that I have found that explains the need to air the speech this week in Tomball ISD. However, with $100 billion in stimulus funds for education, there is plenty of room for parents like us who have yet to find ourselves in a position of trusting anything from the Obama administration to be skeptical. A popular government without popular information or the means of acquiring it is but a prologue to a farce or tragedy, or perhaps both. Knowledge will forever govern ignorance, and a people who mean to be their own governors must arm themselves with the knowledge, with the power which knowledge gives. That's a quote from James Madison. In closing, we thank you for listening and following up with us. We underscore the need for each of us to review, to search out our hearts, and to simply apply courage and common sense. There is no way, no possible way, to set aside politics in this season. It is impossible to do, especially when we revere our roles as parents. But we do not look to the Board of Trustees to save us. We look to you to join us in developing a solution. Thank you.